context of this conversation is in the framework of the world becoming increasingly global. And I think there's, you know, we look at the U.S. Labor Department's forecast for translation and interpretation growth at 18% or something like that. There was another estimate, something more in the ballpark of 22%. I think that the world is getting more prosperous, more peaceful. There's more trade. There's more opportunity for ideas to be passed around. And I'm going to borrow Mark Zuckerberg's, you know, idea that an idea can be given to somebody else without having to lose it yourself. And so as we get more global, there's more and more exchange of ideas and best practices. I think the globalization industry, our industry, has been highly European-centric and highly focused on high-volume languages, mainly because those were the most industrialized countries in the world. But I think the world is catching up very quickly, and it's not just really the handful of 8 countries where people are focusing. I think very rapidly there's going to be more players in the market coming from other than Western European or US-based companies. There's going to be a lot. India, Africa, you know, East Asia. I think people have their blinders on with regards to just how quickly the standard of living is increasing. We're exploding in terms of potential of market, like especially for digital products. I think in Africa, for example, the things that they've done with mobile applications and being able to do mobile banking or verify that prescriptions are valid and you know, just innovating in ways that have been completely kind of skipped over in the Western countries. So I think that's one area when I'm thinking about what blind spots we have here. That's one of the big ones. We're not really talking about extending it. I think in the session a couple of days ago, that's one of my thoughts was how do you accelerate the long tail conversation? Now that we have technology that can theoretically bring the cost of the unit cost down, then it should start you have the market coming up with more and more expendable income, and then you have the cost per unit coming down. And I think that should really be pushing laterally quite quickly.
What we're seeing is some kind of content explosion. Like there's way more content coming online nowadays, especially with user-generated content and developers developing new apps here and there. So because devices are everywhere, we're seeing like this big jump in amount of content being generated, both in terms of applications developed as well as online content and user-generated content. So that's one area that is like obvious, and the other one is machine translation is getting better, and tools are getting better in terms of also managing translation from humans in addition to machines. So these two things are creating like a big, also like impactful change in the industry as well. So I think data is at the center of everything. I think training the machine translations and creating a more continuous localization workflow will empower these companies to translate this content way more efficiently. So continuous localization, really fast release cycles of content, taking full advantage of the instant just-in-time translation of the machine translations, and creating an environment where both humans as well as machines will be trained automatically based on the content and the context around the content.
Opportunity is really to understand better about where the addressable market is, because if it's, I see a lot of folks just spending a bunch of money trying to get into Japan or something without really understanding that market or understanding who they're up against in that market. They tend to look at their localization budget as I have X amount of dollars and I want to divide it by the top impact countries, but without really having the market research that is, and really there are plenty of companies and organizations that have smart people out there in the world who could be bringing this information in to the organization, and then with that intel we could really be making better, advising the customers who are coming into our industry much better.
So market research, ambassadors in the field.
Yeah. Well, yeah, ambassadors in the field, market research. I think there's a lot of potential for innovative minds to kind of rethink the entire model. So.